Day 3 in a row recording. Trying to keep up with it just to stay motivated and, keep the inspiration going. Just kind of jump back into things. Kind of want to go over, more about how that Costa Rica trip really got things started. And yeah, basically after going to Costa Rica, kind of opening up our minds to wow, we don't have to, work all the time, and could actually be free a little bit and take trips, and do fun things and experience what life has to offer. When we got the RV and, started traveling in it, we got into reading self-help books, some really good series by Penny Pierce. Her series is really great. You have The Field also. I'm forgetting the author for that one, but just really deep dives into intuition, energy, and frequency, and just using that to your advantage is just really eye-opening, especially when you take it with a beginner's mind and let go of all these preconceived biases that you have against, or just things that you just be more open to the information you're reading, and you could really change your mind and transform how you think. And that was really huge for us, getting into these books in the beginning. Just before we went to our next big trip overseas, we were doing a lot of self-help reading. We went from South Padre Island, Texas, all the way to Linden, Washington, and that was after spending a winter in South Padre. Tatum was working on a dolphin cruise boat, and I was doing the fishing charters. We would pass each other in the bay, wave at each other, so that was pretty cool. Got to learn a lot that season. I was in the bottom of the boats on the rainy days. I was sitting in this, it's just this place where you take the boats to get refinished, repaired. They drive it up. It's hanging off the ground. You have to climb a ladder 20-30 feet to get up into the boat. And I just remember spending day after day in the engine bay, learning all sorts of things, so many resourceful things that I use now to fix the RV. And I think it was just kind of life's way of preparing me for being in the RV, and kind of being able to fix things as I can go. And man, I learned so much that winter, being in the boats, even though the weather was really crappy. There was one day, I think it was 5 degrees, and we were working on the boats, and it was so cold. But yeah, just after spending our time in South Padre, we were doing really good there. I think it was really the beginning. We were having a good time. Tatum eventually got a job at a bar, so we were having a good time. I would go visit her after I was off my shift, smelling a little fishy, but go in, grab a beer, wait for her to get off. And really beautiful place. I would definitely recommend checking out South Padre Island. Place is awesome. We actually lived in Port Isabel across the bridge, but yeah, just super awesome place. Really, kind of like a spring breaky kind of place. We were there all winter, and then spring break got pretty busy, and then we left. So we got to go to New Mexico and check out Santa Fe. I don't even know if we stopped by home. I don't think we did. We went right through Flagstaff and then continued our way to up the coast of California. We got our Harvest Host membership. That was super awesome. Got to stay at wineries all the way up to Washington. So that was really amazing. A a little trick with that you want to do is get like a Planet Fitness membership where you can go to any gym. So like we were able to like gym, shower, and then go stay at the next winery or farm or wherever on the way up. So that was really awesome. But like during that process, like it was really like, I think that was like the beginning of it, because we're free, right? We're traveling and kind of just doing what we want, and like that kind of is what really started it for me, because like I wasn't working constantly and I had time to actually like reflect on myself. I wasn't distracted or too focused about like the money aspect, and we were kind of just enjoying ourselves for probably like 3 months, I think it was, just cruising up the coast of California, stopping in every place and just really enjoying our time. And you just like start noticing like things in yourself, patterns and whatnot. But yeah, we kept going. I remember once we got to Oregon, we almost got a job in Eugene, a little past Eugene along the 5. We were like looking at this little winery right off the freeway, and he had some land that we could stay at, but like our commitment wasn't like there, and like just didn't work out, like the timing, and like they were unsure about us and we were unsure about them, so like we kind of just kept going. Kept going, drove all day, and then we're kind of sitting in this rest stop like, oh crap, like where do we go from here? We need to start making money. And we're sitting at a rest stop kind of freaking out, like stressing out pretty hard, like, oh my god, we have nowhere to be, like nowhere to stay, we have no idea what we're gonna do. So we kind of just like leave the RV at this rest stop, and we knew like Bellingham, like we heard really good things about that city, so we like jetted up to Bellingham, or like as we left the RV, and we kind of just like looked around. We were looking for RV parks, and then went to Linden and found the Hidden Village RV park, and this was like all that stressing, we were like, man, we need an answer like right away. When we went there, and they had a spot available for us, so that night we moved in. We went there, and like, man, it kind of just, everything just started to fall into place from there. One of our neighbors was like, yeah, you should go check out this little cafe in the morning, or this farm store called Bellwood. And man, like that was amazing. I went into that place and immediately felt like, wow, this place is awesome. I really love it here. And we met the owners, and instantly right away we were like, hey, we're looking for work. And I got hired pretty much on the spot there that day, which was really cool. So jobs, place to stay, just fell right into place. And I mean, that happens a lot. I think for me especially, like I'll be worried about like certain things, like am I gonna have food, money, shelter, like being on the move in the RV, like, oh, electricity, a place to dump, like that whole time I was always like, oh man, like a lot of like unnecessary stresses and kind of like worrying, but like every time everything worked out. So it's kind of like, all right, should we ever really worry? Or like, I don't know, I think it's just about like getting the understanding and awareness that like the universe is gonna supply and give you what you need in the moment that you need it. So I think part of the initial part about thinking about what you need and what you want is important. Planting the seed about what you want is, or what you really need, is good. But then like our minds like to just kind of double it up, right? And just keep thinking about it. And then all of a sudden we turn it into worry, into stress, and that can impact us. And you're not in your moment when you're doing that. And it's really cool to see like time after time after time. Like, so when you start to really see, like, all right, everything actually works out, like, all the time. Like, most of the time, whether it's what you expected, it might be a little different. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, I've done that and continue to do and get better at it as I go. But yeah, things just kind of fall into place. Like, it's been amazing, really. And truthfully, like, all the tests to get up here to Alaska are pretty similar. Like, oh God, are we gonna make it? But then it worked out, and now we're here. So really cool, just like putting your trust out there and really believing is all you got to do, and you can make a lot of things happen. But yeah, all of that self-help and giving us the time, like self-help reading, getting into the books, and then also having the time to just be free and, you know, travel up the coast, like, I think was very huge in our development, at least for me. I'll let Tatum, you know, she probably had her own experience as well, and that's what we're doing here. We're all having our own experience, and I think, like, for me, like, I can't do it any other way. I gotta think about this very deeply. I'm feeling everything as I go, especially now. I think, you know, it's so important. This inner work has just changed my life, and the trajectory is it's changing really, really good. But yeah, like, all that traveling was like a huge prerequisite to what we experienced after that. We spent our whole fall, so we left in March. I'm not sure the year now. It's been a couple, but March, you know, went to Costa California. I think we landed in Bellingham around July, and then we spent the whole fall at Bellwood. And, you know, during that time there, I was working a lot, but it was like the best job I've ever worked. Like, I don't know if it was because I, you know, was doing something that was just with mindfulness, and like with like all the books I was reading, and just like having that freedom, and like living in the RV. It was all like pretty fresh and new. And it just felt really good to be, you know, in Bellingham, a different place, new scenery, experiencing, and like the people. I think a huge part of it was I worked in a distillery tasting room, and that was like my first really like customer service, like selling and like just interacting with people daily, like all day. So that was really cool. Really opened up a lot for me and like my personal growth, like having those interactions with people that I would usually shy away from or just be, you know, hesitant with. So I grew in that way. Yeah, and I feel really good like talking about this stuff, because like it helps me reflect, and then I maybe like give some, you know, help for someone else to kind of like try to ask the right questions, and like, you know, take the right steps, you know. So really beginning, taking the sabbatical, that was the start of it. Just kind of took me out of what I was in. Like, I'm telling you, I was like crazy into conspiracies, politics, sports, whatever. Like, it was just I didn't feel like that was my path. I was like, I can't be in this forever, you know? So after that Costa Rica trip, like, that's when it started to kind of like unravel, and I started to discover like, okay, like, I'm separate from these ideas and things I'm constantly thinking about and worrying about. And then, you know, getting the RV, you know, saying, let's do this, like, let's go buy it. Like, we pulled the trigger and we did it, and we kept like, you know, running into issues, tackled it one thing after another. Took us to South Padre Island, Texas, up the coast of California. Like, the reward is amazing. It was so awesome. And, you know, landing in Bellingham and, you know, working for Bellwood Farms was just such a blessing. You know, wonderful family that owns that place, and, you know, Bellingham is the coolest city ever. So yeah, super awesome. And then that takes us into our big first like international trip. We backpacked for a couple months, and I'll get more into that because that's when the real changes started to happen and the real transformation just kind of, I say transformation, but like almost like life was just taking us there. And it's so beautiful, guys. You know, let this life take you and start dreaming and following and get in your heart, practice some stillness, and just, you know, try to be a little bit more in your moments every day. And little victories, man, that's all it takes. One step every day, you start getting more and more aware. I'll definitely have to share with you guys some books that really impacted me, and I always share with friends that are close to me and family. But yeah, that's it for today. Much love, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.